This video was sponsored by Aura. Before we talk about superheroes and stopping crime, we need to talk about stopping a more serious crime, identity theft. Bank of America recently announced a massive data breach, as have Citigroup and JP Morgan Chase. On average, it takes a company 277 days to report a breach, and by then, your personal data could be floating around out there without you knowing. Imagine if a superhero tried to fight crime, but they didn't know where the crime was until 9 months later when the villain sent an email saying there has been a crime that may have affected you. That would be ridiculous, right? Well, that's exactly what happens. That's why it's a really important time to be talking about today's sponsor, Aura. Aura alerts me if they find my phone number, email, or social security number on the dark web, letting me know fast if anyone tries to use this information to access my credit or bank accounts. And if the worst case scenario happens, they give me up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, and they also provide a bunch of other features to keep you safe online, all inside one app. You can go to my link, aura.com/KaiserBeamz, to try 14 days for free. That will be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed. You'll learn about it before one of these companies are forced to notify you. Once again, that's aura.com/KaiserBeamz to get 2 weeks of Aura's protection for free. And now, on to our show.
KYOTO ビデオ。
In the June of 1938, an event shook the world, even if most people didn't know it at the time. Appearing in newsstands around the United States was a brand new comic book, emblazoned with a striking image. A muscular, human-looking man in a tight blue uniform with a long red cape billowing behind him. In his hands, an entire car which he is slamming into a rock as if it were a mere toy. This is the birth of Superman, as well as the idea of the comic book hero. Created by Jewish authors Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the first story of Superman tells you everything you would need to know about what and who he is. His origins as an alien infant from a distant planet among the stars, sent to Earth as its last descendant. His childhood as a humble Kansas farm boy raised as Clark Kent, and his discovery of his powers through his own physiology. But, most importantly, it establishes the key part of Superman's character, his vow to only use his powers for good, to benefit mankind, and to become champion of the oppressed. This is the foundational part of Superman, and why he has endured as a figure in pop culture for so long. He represents the best of all of us, the ultimate figure of goodness and optimism for the future. The reason why he is called the Man of Tomorrow is because he shows us that a better world is possible. His powers may be alien, but his heroism is 100% the product of Earth, his home. Superman as a character, as a figure, and as an icon has endured for decades and has reached far beyond the boundaries of America across the globe. This includes Japan. In the post-war era, many Japanese children were introduced to the concept of superheroes like Superman through the cultural exchange brought by the occupying USA Army. This would lead to Superman having a profound influence on some of Japan's best and brightest creative minds. Osamu Tezuka was the president of Japan's premier Superman fan club for years. Hayao Miyazaki's entire boarding and animation process was informed by his childhood viewings of the Fleischer Superman shorts. And Akira Toriyama was such a massive Superman fan that he paid homage to the character by creating his own Superman, one that has practically become Superman's equal in terms of iconic status and global recognition. However, Superman's influence in the wider world of anime and manga is sporadic. With Japan creating their own homegrown brand of superheroes who fight for justice and protect humanity, there really is no need to rely on the imported brands. But while it might be rare, that doesn't mean it does not happen.
You must survive.
You must live for us.
We wish you happiness.
Meet Hikaru Amagi. She's just your ordinary high school student going to ordinary high school, attending ordinary tennis club meetings, crushing on her ordinary senpai, and being secretly ordinarily obsessed with ordinary tokusatsu shows. She lives in an ordinary house with her ordinary mom and ordinary dad, who is also an ordinary mad scientist whose ordinary inventions often backfire in Hikaru in ordinarily destructive and comedic ways.
5 minutes till class. Lateness prevention mode activated. Hold on, girls.
But Hikaru has a not-so-ordinary origin story. One night, a couple of years ago, when her dad was proposing to her mom, a space pod comes crashing down to Earth, and within that pod lay a little girl fast asleep. That little girl was Hikaru, and her alien origins will soon become important one day, such as right now. In Earth's orbit, a mysterious fruit named Peos is surveying the area from his spaceship and discovers that the royal armor he and his team of miscreants are seeking is there. That royal armor, the armor of Grandoll, is the legacy of Hikaru's old home planet, and she is the only one who can activate it. The armor allows her to transform into the Toku-style hero she has always admired, and it will be key to her finding a newfound sense of justice and heroism to save her new home world.
This is absurd!
Welcome to 1997's Hyperspeed Grandoll, a product of the waning days of the OVA format's relevance. It has all the earmarks of an OVA anime produced in this time and place. Mid-tier animation, lackluster presentation, and a premise where it's clear they designed the cute girl first and built the world around her. So why choose to devote a video to this in the first place? Well, apart from me wanting to keep as many options open for video subjects, the average mid-tier anime like today's subject allows us to gauge the temperature of the anime landscape it came out in. Plus, the premise is basically, what if Superman was a magical girl / tokusatsu hero? And like hell am I gonna pass up giving that an analysis. So how about it? Does Hyperspeed Grandoll have a hidden strength that's more powerful than a locomotive? Or is it destined to befall some critical kryptonite? Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's today's video. To get how an anime like Hyperspeed Grandoll comes into this world, we need to look at the property that inspired it the most. The story of an inheritor of a will that goes beyond the furthest stars, Earth's noble protector against the supernatural and interstellar evils that besiege it, and a recognizable icon of justice whose name starts with the letter S. We all know how massively popular Sailor Moon was and continues to be to this day, but people might have forgotten how much of a game changer it was back in the 90s. While the idea of a magical girl who is also a warrior for justice went all the way back to the 70s, it didn't really become its own subgenre until the 90s. Naoko Takeuchi, taking inspiration from both the magical girl manga and Super Sentai shows she grew up with, published Sailor Moon as a way to merge these seemingly disparate ideas, and lo, was the paradigm shifted. No longer were magical girls the genre of girls being silly witches or blossoming into beautiful idol singers. Now the 90s made them defenders of justice against the dark forces of evil through piloting mechs, collecting cards, or defending the honor of her princess. And it is this idea of the magical girl that has persisted the longest in both Japanese and Western culture.
Is that a lead pipe?
Yep.
I don't understand. What's a lead pipe gonna do?
Also being spearheaded around the mid to late 90s was exploring the idea of the magical girl as a sci-fi concept, looking at the magical girl and how such a magic-based archetype can exist in a world where space exploration and the internet exists. But most importantly, this new development in the magical girl genre was a huge boon for the otaku crowd. Otakudom had always attached itself to the magical girl genre for less than savory reasons, I will admit. But now that the genre came with a more action focus, there was more reason to tune in besides the boom anime babes that make you think the wrong thing. This is the culture that allows an anime like Hyperspeed Grandoll to blossom. It was the product of Bandai Visual through their illustrious Emotion brand. And if you watched enough old school anime like me, seeing those moai is a sign that you're going to be watching something that is at least mildly entertaining. The studio Bandai enlisted in making Grandoll is a little studio called Zero G Room. They were a studio mostly known for co-producing a lot of other 90s OVAs of varying quality, from KO Beast to Bounty Dog to that empty guy sequel Central Park Media funded. Grandoll was the brainchild of Katsumi Hasegawa, a screenwriter whose resume involves a lot of 90s anime like Slayers and Saber Marionette J. Couldn't find any interview, translated or otherwise, asking what his main inspiration behind Grandoll was, but I do know that his older brother, mangaka Yuichi Hasegawa, is a big wheel among mecha and toku fans. So I would imagine he's also a big fan of those and wanted to smash those passions together with a cute anime girl as a centerpiece. Correction, a cute anime girl who also loves toku videos.
This is Rockin' Dorger, my favorite TV hero. I love him. He's great. I got some great videos. Wanna watch?
That's the core of Grandoll's creative DNA, a passionate love for both science fiction style superheroes and cute girls, both desires that are reflected by the anime's creative team. For director, we have Hideki Tonokatsu, a well-known storyboarder and unit director for the sci-fi superhero show Tekkaman Blade series, who transferred those skills into directing the OVA sequel. And for animation director and character designer, you have the late great Toshinari Yamashita, an animator who specialized in very 90s designs for anime girls. With this duo's powers combined, they have created what should be a veritable Reese's cup of otaku interest. And they do succeed in some way. Animation is about as what you would expect from a 1997 OVA. No longer buoyed by the bubble economy of 10 years ago, the cost-cutting measures seen are on full display. But it's not a total sorry state of affairs. A few select scenes still have their fair share of the juice, utilizing dynamic boarding and camera angles in concert with some electric motion to net a few solid action scenes that are enough to keep the audience's attention. Some scenes of note are the sequences where Hikaru and her friend Haruna are running late to school and get unwillingly assisted by Hikaru's dad's various gadgets. These sequences are probably the best the anime has to offer, which I ascribe to the obvious Project A-ko DNA they have. Although for how technically good these scenes are, it does feel like they're missing that extra oomph somewhere. These are scenes that should be coming at me hard and fast, but they're more mild than they are wild. It's hard to describe exactly what I mean. I guess I want scenes like this to feel like a full-throated punch instead of a light jab. What is in full force is Tonokatsu's character designs. A big fan of extravagance in both the designs of super suits and the cute anime girls who wear them, he shows off Hikaru's growth and power by how more ostentatious her armor gets as the series goes on. What I personally like the most, though, is the design of Hikaru herself. It's so classically 90s anime with her loud pink hair and massive pigtails, and she's got a superb pair of rounded glasses to make her a top-tier Meganiko. A pity they disappear whenever she's in her super suits. Yeah, I know, I hate it too. Voice acting is good, if a bit standard. The same year she was voicing a psychologically tormented idol singer, Junko Iwao was providing the voice of Hikaru. Not only does she do an excellent job of bringing out Hikaru's inherent cuteness, but she's also good at selling the comedic bits. Stuff like reacting to her alarm clock committing seppuku after hitting the snooze button one too many times. Most importantly, she has got the hero yell down pat, and delivers those lines with shrieking, blazing passion. Then we have the rival character, Sigil, played by Yuko Miyamura. She is responsible for delivering the dramatic tension of the anime and does it wonderfully, speaking in a cold, authoritative voice that is nonetheless hiding a lot of pain. But of course, she can't just be a source of seriousness the entire anime, so that acting style is turned into a wonderful bit of comedy where she takes on the role of a mysterious transfer student at Hikaru's school and doesn't bother maintaining her cover for even a minute. The dub, meanwhile, I'm less complimentary towards. It is an obvious Central Park Media fly-by-night number, so you know what we're getting into. One or two professional voice actors mixed with a cast of non-union interns thrown into the booth in between getting John O'Donnell his Starbucks.
Hikaru, I am in.
Most of the dub actors are plywood stiff in this, especially the actresses playing Sigil and Haruna, both of whom seem to be in a contest over who can shout read their lines in the most hilarious fashion.
Wait a second, will ya? You lost me completely!
Hell, don't you run away! You? A coward heiress?
What heiress?
Are mine!
If there's one bright spot in the dub, it's Deborah Rabbi as Hikaru. She is carrying the weight of the dub on those shoulders, and I owe it to her being able to not only give Hikaru a cutesy-wootsy voice, but doing it in a way that flows organically out of her. It's like she's speaking a second language, and that language is kawaii.
Fab, 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 it's a dream! Narazaki is next to me, smiling only at me. Fab, fab, fab! I could just die!
Although, I can't say the same about her singing.
A piece of star cracks in two. They are two, but really one.
But regardless of what compliments I give to this anime from a technical standpoint, they are always going to be held back by something or another. It's one of those anime that can sometimes be good, but it can never be great. And I'm sorry to say, but that also applies to the story. I was expecting worse from an anime like Grandoll because I've seen some truly harsh reviews for it out in the wild, but when I sat down and watched it, it was not as bad as I expected it to be. That's the thing though, while it's not the worst thing, it's also not the best. The big problem it has is that it's incredibly cliched. I drew the Project Echo comparison earlier, and you have to remember that was a tongue-in-cheek parody of anime that catered to the otaku crowd. Grandoll, meanwhile, took one look at that and said, what if we played all of that completely straight? The result is an anime that may as well have been the general idea for anime amongst ignorant laymen of the era. It's got all the tropes, a kawaii schoolgirl protagonist with neon-colored hair, said schoolgirl getting a Sentai-style power-up, flashy fights that shift between well-animated to completely rigid stock footage, and don't forget, plenty of fan service. It's the kind of anime that would be playing in the background of a TV show that was clearly poking fun at the medium.
Oh, how do you watch that? It's like barfing rainbows in my eyes.
I watch
Hyperspeed Grandoll
all day, every day.
I think this is the reason why it never appears to fully commit to a tone, which causes a bit of an identity crisis throughout its short run. It wants to pull off this incredible madcap comedy with elaborate set pieces involving various gadgets, but it also wants to be the dramatic heroic narrative of a young girl having to grapple with the sudden responsibilities that have befallen on her and how much she should be willing to sacrifice to protect the ones she loves. And before anyone gets on my case, yes, I know plenty of other anime have done this type of comedy-drama balancing act, quite beautifully in some cases. But Grandoll is not one of those. The comedy, while there and sometimes quite inspired as evidenced by the seppuku alarm clock gag, never gets to come into its own because it's treated more like window dressing than a core part of the narrative. And it seems to be consistently undercut by the drama. In the first episode, the starter villain of the series is this robot guy with a pompous voice and the punny name of Garbigi. And yet, he's treated in the anime like a nightmarish threat that will kill everyone if Hikaru doesn't get her superpowers online soon. Or how about in the second episode? Sigil thinks Haruna is the actual holder of the superpowered armor of Gran, and as a warrior of Gran, challenges her to a duel that promptly ends with Hikaru accidentally opening a door onto Sigil's face, comically knocking her out cold. This promptly fades into a brief flashback about Sigil's tragic backstory. And the drama is not handled any better. Half of the emotional core of Grandoll is Hikaru getting flashbacks to the brief time she spent on her home planet, only barely able to make out her parents' faces before they are consumed by fire. So when her parents take her aside in the second episode and give her an emotional confession about her true origins, this is how she responds.
We've never told you you're not our real daughter!
The drama undercuts the comedy, and the comedy undercuts the drama. Nobody wins in the end, resulting in scenes like the fruity villain Payos trying to get out of Dodge in a cartoonish fashion, only to be blown up in a dramatic fashion once the real big bad arrives.
Chief Commander Friedhoff, please forgive me. I beg you. Next time will be different.
Hey, wait a minute, I know that voice.
It says your account is past due. Pay up, you cheap tightwad. Ow!
Oh, great. Just because I'm a snail, I get slugged.
None of this is helped by the whole narrative being told in the most rudimentary structure where Hikaru barely has time to develop agency, mostly having to rely on the armor Grandoll, who talks by the way, literally pausing the anime and telling her, "Okay Hikaru, here's what I can tell you about the plot so far, now go off and do something heroic before I can tell you some more." So, is there anything the story of Grandoll does well? Well, yes and no. The other half of the emotional core of Grandoll is Hikaru and her relationship with Sigil. It's established early on that Hikaru has a crush on Senpai What's-His-Face, but is played off as a typical schoolgirl crush. But when Sigil arrives as the mysterious transfer student, my god, she is smitten. An absolute waterfall in those panties. Every single scene between Hikaru and Sigil is shot in the most intensely romantic way, and the sexual tension between those two is so thick you can cut it with a knife. This is not a one-sided infatuation on Hikaru's part though. Apparently, a new feeling is stirring within the Cold Warrior's heart every time she's in Hikaru's presence. Even when Sigil and Peos take her senpai hostage to act as a bargaining chip, Hikaru refuses to fight Sigil, and tries to appeal to the goodness she knows that's inside her.
To defeat you and dedicate the armor to Sir Freedshelf. That's my calling.
No, that's not like you! You're not the Shigil I know at all!
This all leads to the big climax of their relationship, an after-fight bath scene. And not just any bath scene, but one of the most Yuri-ass bath scenes this side of Dungeon Meshi.
Shigil, you can't give up. You and me both. We can't give up, not yet.
So it's no wonder they both end up with men at the end of the story. Okay, backing up a little. Sigil's backstory was that she was essentially a slave raised to be a warrior by a religious order. She was rescued from a life of violent servitude by a brave knight called Lord Freedshelf. It's soon revealed that Freedshelf is the big bad behind all of this and is threatening to blow up the earth if Hikaru does not surrender the armor to him. This leads to an actually interesting twist that Hikaru's parents were killed in a revolution that ultimately brought peace to their home planet of Gran after a long period of warfare and strife. And the flashback Hikaru has been having were sealed memories coming to the surface. So Hikaru is less Kal-El and more Princess Anastasia. Naturally, the reason why Freedshelf wants the armor for himself is so that he can install himself as Gran's brutal dictator, as he believes the subsequent peace has made the planet soft. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss, I guess. Of course, Hikaru's not gonna let that happen, so the duel begins. But not before Sigil allows herself to get stabbed to protect Hikaru.
Don't repeat the tragedy of that flower field.
This sacrifice is what gives Hikaru her second win to get her final power up and demolish Freeshelf's gunship before he can fire the laser that will destroy her planets. And amidst the crumbling ruins of the spaceship, Hikaru attempts to rescue the wounded Sigil, but Sigil chooses to stay behind with her master Lord Freedshelf, the man who rescued and subsequently abused and manipulated her, wishing the fascists a tearful goodbye before they are consumed by the fiery inferno. How romantic. And while Hikaru seems to be completely broken up by these events,
no, she's fine. I just know it. Shigil couldn't have died. She's alive. She must be.
She gets over it rather quickly once she sees that her parents have brought Senpai What's-His-Face to space with them, who wishes to confess his love to her. Boy, the world of the heterosexual is a sick, boring life. This, my friends, is advanced Yuri baiting, almost the female equivalent of a shonen author writing the most tear-jerking romantic friendship between two male leads and then sticking them with the routinely shafted female characters. But it's profoundly unfair here, where the two female leads have sparks flying in every direction between the two of them, and the end result is that one of them gets saddled with a character she has no chemistry with, and the other with one where the chemistry is absolutely noxious. Like many OVAs, it's difficult to tell if Hyperspeed Grandoll was a success or failure by any measure. We do know that Bandai had enough faith in the new property to not just fund the OVA, but also develop a tie-in video game for it, because you could actually do that back in the day thanks to shorter dev times. While it is adapting the OVA, the story is slightly different. By the nature of it being a video game, Hikaru takes more of an active role in fighting off the big bads, less time introspecting about her life before Earth and her desire to protect her newfound planet, and more shooting things. From what I've seen, it looks to be a serviceable Mega Man X clone with Metroid elements. Although, even through the footage alone, you can tell the jumping mechanics are clunky as hell. That's the story of Grandoll's life. It's a serviceable property, but there's something always holding it back to keep it from being good, let alone great. The action is good, but not good enough. The comedy is good, but not good enough. The drama of a young girl realizing her alien heritage and stepping up to become the savior of the blue planet she calls home is good, but not good enough. There's nothing too atrocious about this.
She has grown so much.
Well, except for that. This is pure C-grade meat and potatoes anime. Grandoll gets the job done for those seeking out cute anime girls doing superheroics, but anything greater than that is clearly beyond this anime's reach. It's not super, nor hyper. It's merely average.
It's finally over.
Thank you all for watching. If you like this video or want to support this channel, please donate to my Patreon. Each dollar can give you early access to my videos as they come out, as well as keep the channel running a bit more smoothly. You can also subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, or just like this video. Either way, you'll be helping me out. That's all for now. See you for the next round of tapes.
Please help me. Protect